music in you.
All right, common asked question, and some of these on the post is your back supposed to stay flat? So actually I have shared a reel on this. I gotta find the old one and I will share it after this. But we don't want this, and we don't want to be smashing in that we're actually putting outward pressure on. So it's always breathing the ribs down. Right, so this is the base that we found, and you can see how my spine is flat because of how I breathe the ribs down. And then you practice the small breaths here. Little breaths while I'm maintaining stability, and then you build on that. So now I'm going to hold with my legs up. That's going to be more of a challenge. So you can have a little bit of space underneath your back, but if you're going like this every time the leg is moving, or if you're doing, something like this and the back is arching, that is not the desired movement. So you can even flip over on hands and knees and try to find what a neutral spine is for you. So we can agree that this is a really arched back, this is exaggerated, and this is a arched back too, just in a different way, whatever you want to call it. And this is a neutral spine. And so sometimes finding it on hands and knees helps you better understand what that looks like when you're on your back. But in general, if your back is arching, we're losing the connection of the core, and we're overusing our back and other muscles instead of targeting the core. In the email today, I talked about troubleshooting some common questions, and one of them was prolapse and with strengthening. And I gave a list of things like check these out first before you talk about strengthening, because if we don't hit these things, then this is why you could be troubleshooting still. And one of them was about scar tissue, so C-section, episiotomy scar, spontaneous tearing of the perineum, or even little laparoscopic scars. Those can all leave scar tissue, which means below the level of the scar, there could be adhesions or restrictions, and you kind of think like a spider web that are disrupting the way the tissues can move and glide. And then from there, tensions in one place of the body can create the domino effect elsewhere. And this is not uncommon for prolapse, that it's less of a strength issue potentially and more of a tension issue that is causing pressure to be placed in other areas of the body. And so I'm going to share another. If you have pelvic organ prolapse, you've probably made the assumption that your pelvic floor is weak. While they might be weak, they could also be presenting as weak because they're not working optimal. It's an interesting theory called the biotensegrity theory, where it's almost like the restrictions are pulling the organs down. And instead of thinking of bone with skin on top of them or tissues on top of them, and the bones are our support. It totally goes the opposite way, where like the bones are floating in these tissues, and these tissue restrictions cause bones and stuff to move out of different alignments, and things to not move well. So lots of people have seen results from it, and it's definitely something that needs to be considered, which is again why we can't just talk about Kegels. So, if you have a C-section scar, Shonda is my favorite resource for this. She's personally experienced it, and so she leaves so many tips on it. So, yeah, definitely someone to check out. And I will try to talk more about kind of mobilizing your own scar tissue. I will put it on the list. Have a great weekend. I'm signing off.